Whether crypto, advanced, or unspeakably new, Bitcoin.com has a wallet for you. So there's this phenomenon people have not really been paying attention to when it comes to U.S. foreign policy. It's been most noticeable maybe over the last 10 or 15 years, but
the battleship Wisconsin and the cruiser Manchester go into action.
One historian, I think it was an historian, claims that it goes back to the Korean War. So his theory was something along the lines of, okay, the Americans every war they've fought since 1817 has been like a resounding success all the way up until 1949. There's no failures really of any kind in the strategic sense. So that's a long string of victories. But in the 1950 to 53 Korean War, the Americans were fought to a draw by the Chinese. Well, then they won the Cuban Missile Crisis, they lost Vietnam War, they lost the war in Lebanon, they won the Cold War, and that's big, it's important. Won the Gulf War, even came off looking like the good guy there. Won in Croatia, won in Bosnia, won in Kosovo, grand total of what, 10 casualties on the U.S. side? Lost in Somalia, which was earlier. Then, just looking from a purely conventional standpoint, they win the war in Afghanistan in 2001 over a period of about 6 weeks. They went in Iraq 2 years later, 2003, takes about 5 weeks. But then, Libya, takes 6 months. Syria, they probably got involved in that 4 or 5 years ago, and they still haven't won. Ukraine, they lose. Georgia, lose. And all those conventional victories that I named from the Middle East, they're losing those too, actually, in the bigger sense, because of guerrilla warfare and chaos. I mean, just even the fact that Afghanistan is even on the list, that the Americans are even there, is a big red flag that they're going down. It happened to the British, it happened to the Russians. That's where empires go to die. Now, this isn't something to rejoice about. Even if you're anti-federal, their presence will probably just be replaced with something worse. If you think about the historical precedents, the United States was in Cambodia in 1970, roughly, and waging a sort of covert war there. That wound up destabilizing Cambodia so much that the Khmer Rouge took over, and of course you've heard of the Killing Fields. And that almost exact same type of scenario played out in ISIL territory in the 2014 era. Yeah, that's the other group they still haven't completely beaten after, 3-4 years. Anyhow, they say that the more you use your power, the less you have. And, back in the day, you didn't really see Americans overtly using much power. And they may have been technically at war for long periods of time, but it just wasn't like this, the stuff that's been going on since '01. And before then, it also didn't really feel like we were the bad guys, that they were the bad guys, these feds. I can still look back in history and root for the federal side in probably 2/3, 3/4 of the wars that they were in the 20th century. Me, Ridley, Mr. Anti-Fed. But that is just not the case in this century. When there was a communist Russia around to call us all imperialists, we kind of weren't. And now that they're gone, and there's no one to call us that, we are. They are. Why does the world look like this? Well, it's because you're using these instead of these. Admittedly, so am I sometimes. But if you're not using Bitcoin yet, you're missing the boom of the century. So, go to Bitcoin.com, get their free wallet, find out what it's like to be in a free market. Whether crypto, advanced, or unspeakably new, Bitcoin.com has a wallet for you.